Okay, here's step 3. I've got an equation 2x plus 1 equals 9. Step 3 really is just a combination of step 1 and step 2 mixed in together. And so we just follow the processes that we've learned in step 1 and step 2. On the left hand side of this equation we've got 2x's plus 1, and on the right hand side we've got the number 9. And what we're going to do is basically go through some logical processes and end up down here with x equals some number. And that will be the answer to the as the solution to the equation. So what we've got to do is get rid of the 2 and we've got to get rid of the plus 1. Many people say, well, which order do we get rid of them? Does it matter whether we get rid of the plus 1 first or the 2 first? Yes, it does. You've got to do things in a set order. If you're going to go about changing that into just an x on the bottom line as your answer, you have to do things in a set process, a set way. There's only one correct way of doing it. Let me show you very quickly before I actually start solving this. If I had a letter x and I put it into what we call in maths a function machine, and I said let's times it by 2, so I put an x into a function machine and I turn the handle, out of the other side would pop a figure 2x. So x times 2, you get 2x, so 2x would pop out the end. If I then take that 2x and I add 1 to it, out of the end pops 2x plus 1. So if imagine you had £1 million, for example. Put in £1 million, times it by 2, you get £2 million. £2 million, add 1, you get £2,000,001. So if you've got x, times it by 2 and then add 1, you end up with 2x plus 1 as an algebraic expression coming out the end. Now what we've got, as you can see in this sum on the left hand, in this equation on the left hand side, is 2x plus 1. We've got this. So what we've got to do is undo the 2x plus 1 and go back to try and get x. I'll show you how I do it in a minute, just bear with me for a second. So if you imagine going backwards through this little machine, the first thing that you've got to do is undo the plus 1. So to do that, as you'll see, we're going to take it to the other side and change it to a minus 1. So you undo the plus 1 to get 2x, and then afterwards you would undo the times 2 by sharing by 2 to get back to x. So the first thing you're going to do if you're going to go from 2x plus 1 to get x is undo a plus 1, so get rid of the plus 1 first, and then undo the times 2. Okay, that's the process. Get rid of the plus 1, then get rid of the 2. Now, you may or may not be happy with that, but a little technique that gets round thinking like that, which way do we do things, is this. All you do is you collect x's, I'll write it out for you. We collect x's on one side and numbers on the other side. That's a little rule that will always work for you. So that's an x term, that's a number term, that's a number term. You simply collect all the x's together on one side and numbers on the other. Okay, here we go. 2x, that's the only x term in that equation. So I'm going to leave it on the left hand side. Everything else is a number term. The 1 and 9 are number terms, so collect them on the other side. So leave the equals in the middle. The 9 is a number term. It doesn't go anywhere, leave it as 9. That plus 1 there, it's a number term. It's on the wrong side as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to take it to the other side. From step 1, if you take a plus 1 to the other side of an equation equal sign, it becomes a minus 1. It does the opposite, a minus 1. So we get that. So if that's a true statement, that must be a true statement. Okay, so the plus 1 is dealt with first, as I showed you on that function machine picture a minute ago. Okay, so now leave the 2x alone and we just simplify. 9 take away 1, you get 8. So we've got 2x's are equal to 8. This is now like a step 2 equation. I've got 2 times x. I don't want 2 times x or x times 2. I want to get rid of that 2. So I leave the x where it is and take the 2 to the other side, and it does the opposite. It becomes a divide by 2. You leave the 8 exactly the same. So you get x on the left equals 8 divided by 2. So the 2 has gone to the other side to become a share by 2. So now we work out 8 shared by 2, the answer is 4. So there you go, x is 4. Well, of course it must be 4. 2 4s are 8, add 1, you get 9. So that's the solution. Let me do another one, number 2. Now I'm not going to mention function machines in this because that might have confused one or two people, so I'm going to just keep it straight to the point. Number 2, you might have 3x minus 5 is equal to 6, something like that. Okay, so 3x minus 5 equals 6. What I do is collect the x's on one side, numbers on the other side. In this particular case, all the x's, 3 of them, there they are on the left hand side. There are no other x's. So leave them on the left hand side of the equal sign. The number terms, the minus 5 and the 6, need to go to the other side and collect together. The 6 is already on this side, so leave it alone. Doesn't change. The minus 5, if I take a minus 5 and take it to the other side, from step 1 the minus 5 becomes a plus 5. So if that's a true statement, that must be a true statement. That's step 1. So 3x, leave it alone, equals 6 plus 5 on the right hand side equals 11. So we've simplified the right hand side. We've now got a step 2 example. We've got 3x's, or 3 times x. It's a times, x times 3 on the left hand side. If you want to get rid of that times by 3 just to leave you with x, which is what we want, what you're going to do is take that times by 3 to the other side, it becomes a divide by 3. The 11 just stays where it is. So on the right hand side you've got 11 share by 3. X is 11 share by 3. That's not a nice whole number. You could do it on a calculator and you get an answer either 3 and 2/3. Okay, 3 3s are 9 and 2 is 11. So 3 and 2/3 or 3.66666. But there's no need to. You can actually leave it as 11/3. It's a top heavy fraction. You don't even need to change it to a mixed number like 3 and 2/3. There you go, that's question 2. Let's try another one. So question 3. How about 8 equals 5x minus 2? Exactly the same sort of principle, but this time the x's, as you can see, are on the right hand side. So if that's the case, then leave the x's on the right hand side. Leave the 5x where it is on the right hand side. The number terms, the 8 and the minus 2, go to the left. This is already on the left. Leave it exactly the same then, 8. Take the minus 2 to the other side. From step 1, minus 2 to the other side becomes plus 2. So if that's a true statement, that must be a true statement. Now simplify those numbers on the left. 8 plus 2 is 10 equals 5x. So we've got now a step 2 type of equation. 10 equals 5x's. So we share by 5. We take the 5 to the other side and it becomes a share by 5. So you get 10 share by 5 and 2 equals x. So the 5 there goes to the other side, becomes a share 5. 2 equals x. And that's the end of this stage. So step 3 done. See you on step 4.